Smite content we were going to record. It's over.
Are you canceling Smite?
Oh shit, we're live.
Yep, we are.
Smite canceled.
So hi there.
It's official. Smite is canceled. Jacob and me.
All right, nope. We've canceled all of Smite. It's never going to be updated. The game will be deleted from all consoles and computers.
You know what? Cancel this podcast. We're done with this too. You know.
Shut it down.
Fuck you guys.
That's a wrap.
Okay, so
In all seriousness,
Hey, it's the Biasholes, and we're doing another podcast.
yeah.
your intros do suck.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
fucking kill you. Do a better one.
No, they're totally fine. Jackson just sounds like he has a problem with his T's and his B's, and he's just, like
Here's the
struggling
thing.
through
I
it.
have a cold right now, so
Oh, that's okay. That's fine.
yeah.
All right. Well, we just did 2 recordings immediately before this.
Hey,
so,
One with and one without Jacob.
It's the Biasholes podcast.
Shut your fucking whore mouth.
Is this how we're going to begin every pod?
Hey, it's the whore mouth bod.
Jacob, are you sure you are up? For
I'm
this?
good. We'll do this. Let's go.
I feel like Jacob's stoned and he's just not telling.
Let it happen.
He's
Anyway,
stoned, he just drank a lot. He's fine.
All right.
That's just
Yeah,
normal
it's-
Tuesday
it's-
night.
I thought it was Saturday. Shit.
So okay, so a few things from last time that I want to clear up.
That Trevor screwed up
These are
on.
important. Trevor screwed up the most, but I had my fair share.
All right.
So we focus mostly on Trevor's.
all right. I'm gonna end this on a high note for me, and I'm gonna start out with the bad and then go to the good, or like for me, bad and good. Okay. So, first of all, I mentioned very briefly in a statement that the Nintendo 64 was released in 1995. However, I was wrong, and it was actually released in 1996. I don't know
Which
how.
means that in context of the conversation, I was correct in that Star Wars Dark Forces, a game released in 1995, was still in current generation graphics.
All right. Yeah. All right. Fine. I'll give you it. Oh my goodness, my phone is buzzing.
Just dealer.
One other thing that we sort of need to clear up, I think, is something that nobody was really wrong about,
But no one was right about.
but just nobody knew about really, which was the frame rate of the human eye. And Jackson, you mentioned briefly at one point that you were able to see frame rates over 60 frames per second on certain menus of games.
Yeah.
That's not true. I'm pretty much certain.
There's a difference between 60 and 120. and
No,
people
there
can tell.
absolutely is.
There is,
Yeah.
but the thing is, in all likelihood, your monitor does not display a frame rate of over 60 frames per second. So
Well,
it's
my
impossible.
monitor barely displays 40.
Well, what's the refresh rate on your monitor? Is it 40 hertz or 60
I don't
hertz?
fucking know. It's a laptop.
Okay, so it's probably 60. So do this, and if you're listening, you can do this too. Go to your desktop. Go to your
Oh,
desktop,
I'm at my
right-click,
desktop.
and
Right-click.
click screen resolution. Just click it.
There's no such thing.
Are you running Windows 10?
Yeah?
Okay. Try to find the control panel and go to screen resolution in there.
Intel HD graphics control panel. If this shuts down my computer, I'm going to hurt you.
Okay.
I
All
threaten
right,
people
so you're
with-
gonna.
He has
No,
a
I-
hitman,
I'm just
apparently,
gonna hit no.
that he has threatened me with.
Yeah, I know a hitman. He
It's
kills
me.
people for $100. It's not fucking John! God damn it!
Uh-oh. Okay. Well, I might be wrong again here.
Maybe we should just make a section why Trevor is wrong.
No.
Welcome to the Trevor Show, where Trevor talks about everything that he's wrong about.
Okay.
Today's episode, "The World is Flat" by Trevor.
Yesterday, I stated that the world is flat, and while I still hold true to this, NASA has confirmed otherwise, and I have to make a video based on my contract.
All right. Fuck. I thought it was here. I could have swore. Anyway, there's a way to find out on your computer what the refresh rate is.
This
And-
ends the interactive part
And
of the
it's
podcast.
usually 40 or 60. 120 frames per second is rare, but
Well,
they're out
here's-
there.
I'm talking about gaming. We're not talking about whether or not we can register 60 frames per second
I know.
on a computer. We're talking about how fast the human eye can see.
Yes, but it's impossible. It is likely impossible for you to look at games that you play on your laptop and see higher than 60 frames per second.
No, I have a TV that can play 60 frames per second, so I know what 60 frames looks
I
like.
really want a pet ocelot.
Yeah, those would be cool.
Yeah.
A what? I'm sorry.
Pet ocelot.
Revolver
Oh, a cat?
Ocelot.
Sorry, continue. I did not mean to derail anyone.
Revolver Ocelot.
Okay. So what were you saying, Jackson, about the television thing?
Revolver Ocelot?
No, your TV.
No, my TV displays 60 frames per second, so I know what it looks like, but my laptop just doesn't have the hardware to... It has a fucking i7 processor, and it can barely run 60.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing is, you might have never seen higher than 60 frames per second.
Therefore, you can't perceive.
On a screen, maybe?
Okay. Well, the thing is, humans, as it turns out, can see around 1,000 frames per second. The trouble is that, you can't, you can't ever really test it because there are very few things that refresh at that rate. A good way to test, if you can see the refresh rate on your monitor is to actually wiggle your mouse around the screen. You can see the trail of the frames of the mouse on your screen as it dashes across. You can see a whole bunch of independent still images of the mouse, the cursor.
Yep.
So that's like an example of you seeing independent refreshes. If it was continuous, you would see a blur, but you don't. You see independent images. So that's another thing. And the final thing that we need to clear up, I feel like, is the Kojima thing. You said that he never tried to leave Metal Gear. Here I have an article from Kotaku saying it's a list.
I'm reading it right now. I've
Yes.
never heard of this before because I'm not too big into Metal Gear.
Yeah.
But
It's basically
that's
a
really
list.
funny. He's basically just not been wanting to deal with the game since Metal Gear Solid 2, apparently.
Yeah, he's tried to back out of the projects ever since, and it's a
And
list of all his quotes whenever he said he wouldn't work on it
So
anymore.
let's see. The first one is 2000, then in 2001, then in 2005, then 2005 again, 2008, 2008 again, 2009, 2011, 2014, and 2015.
Yeah. So, surely this must be the last one. Surely, he says.
At least by
Mostly
him.
because he's been fucking fired from Konami.
Yeah.
It'll be
so.
his last Metal Gear.
Yeah, they'll probably milk the franchise, but the thing is, Kojima had a hand in pretty much every process, so the entire game is Kojima's vision. It's not really a collective vision.
Exactly.
You think Pokemon has the same thing? Like they go, this is going to be our last one. Seriously, we are out of ideas.
Fuck no, Nintendo will milk anything. Have you seen Mario? He's
Yeah.
pretty much hoard
Hard
out
Gold
to
and-
every second-rate Nintendo.
Yeah.
Hard Gold and Soul
Great.
Silver were supposed to be the last Pokemon games, but what's funny to me about
I don't believe you.
Mario
I
Maker...
fucking don't believe you.
Look it up. The funny thing about Mario Maker, though, that I don't understand is that, they kept making Mario games with, a couple variations in the power-ups, but nothing major, and then they made Mario Maker. But, after Mario Maker, how can they make another Mario game?
They can't.
They'll find a way, and people will fucking buy it anyway.
The thing
Because,
is they
yeah...
continue. Yeah.
I have an
no,
irrational
no,
hatred
I'm
of
just gonna say
Nintendo
what
fanboyism.
you're gonna say, Trevor, which is that there's just no way that they can make just a coherent linear Mario experience that can be better than something that thousands of people can make for each other. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. So the thing is, for me, I don't know. I feel like they've already, used Mario like beating a dead horse because they've redone, reused, and re-implemented so many mechanics and stuff that it's boring now. And there was a time that I wanted to buy every Mario game ever because they were all so unique and different, and now it's just
you want to know how they do it, Trevor?
I know how they do it. They just copy
appealing to
paste.
fucking
No.
Nintendo's
No, you want to 3 words is how they fix it.
Okay.
Super Mario Galaxy 3.
Why?
Okay.
Galaxy
now-
1 and 2 exist. Why not go back to Sunshine? Sunshine was original.
Yeah. Okay. What's
Super
your
Mario
thinking?
Sunshine Galaxy 5.
Oh god.
Here's the thing. I think the way that Nintendo should go is back to the 3D platformer area because they're
Yeah.
really good at that,
Yeah.
and they can make an original game that sells. It's just I don't think they want to put in the time and effort because
They don't want to take a risk.
yeah.
Right, but like Super Mario Galaxy 3. Let's go.
Well, I would be for that, I guess. But the thing is, I have
Super
my
Mario
qualms.
Galaxy 7.
I have
If
my
there's one
qualms.
thing I really want from Nintendo, this would sell me instantly.
Super
Is it
Mario
Met-
Galaxy Infinity.
A Metroid Prime game that actually looks like Metroid Prime.
Well, they
I
already
would
have a
actually buy a Wii U or NX if they launched it with a Metroid Prime title that was a respectable follow-up to Metroid Prime 3.
Well,
And the Metroid Prime series in general. And if you say Federation Force, I
No.
will be upset with you. And if you
Other
say Other M, I will also be upset with you because that destroyed every ounce of character that Samus had been built up as
I
in
know.
a strong, independent female category. Also, the introductory cutscene was apparently 30 minutes long.
But the point of Other M is this took place before like all the others Metroid games did, so she wasn't as strong a character as she was supposed to be yet.
I will say, there's like I have not tried to look too into the lore, but there doesn't exist a lot of lore behind Metroid.
Oh, there's actually a lot if you look. Apparently.
If you look,
Yeah.
where would you find it though? Is it like the logs in Metroid Prime when you scan stuff?
Really, a lot of the lore exists in the original 2D games.
Yeah.
Okay. The 2D games are honestly, I have trouble with platformers, which explains a lot about Move or Die. But like I've tried playing through Metroid, the original NES game, and I played some Super Metroid or Metroid 2 Samus Returns. I played some of those, and they're difficult.
Yeah, I mean that's just the style of the game, you know. I don't think the original NES Metroid is the one to start with. I would definitely recommend Super Metroid as your beginning Metroid game. But anyway.
I played Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, and it was basically my introduction to shooting, even though I really like Halo and games like that. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes was my first real shooter, even though we never made it far in the campaign. My brother and I loved playing the multiplayer mode in that.
Oh god,
It was
that's what
fun.
they need. A good Metroid.
Metroid-style shooter game.
Yeah.
Even if it's not Metroid, if they were to pursue a new franchise that was actually slightly mature, it can still be T-rated and be a shooter.
Yeah.
It's like they just need to make something unique. Like
Do you know-
Splatoon. Splatoon
Yes,
did
I was
well.
about to say Splatoon. You're right.
But
Like,
Splatoon is like third person, almost top down.
I was talking with this to some people at the college that I go to.
You go
They
to
were talking
college,
about-
fucking nerd.
Shut up. They were talking about games that Nintendo made, and they were like, Splatoon was actually targeted more towards the adult or older community, as well as it was the children. That's what makes Nintendo so great, is they can target both audiences.
I don't know if it's necessarily targeting
It's
as
not
much
really
as it
targeted
is
as what
people enjoy what Nintendo makes. And that's something that I've kind of come to realization. There's a lot of fanboyism that surrounds the Nintendo fan base. Because it's like, quote unquote, they were first, and therefore they're the best.
No, not true.
When you're milking a franchise for a solid 30 years now, I'd hesitate to call you the best so much as just straining the formula.
Yeah.
Well, PC
people
was
are
before
buying it.
Nintendo.
Yeah. I mean, Nintendo didn't come around until like the third generation of console gaming is when they finally existed in America. The Atari 2600 well predates the NES.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even before Nintendo, they were just card games. Nintendo.
God, I fucking love
And
my history
love
of video games
hotels.
class.
Yeah.
Is this a thing, Jacob?
I'm look.
What's
You
that?
said love hotels. Is this a thing?
Yeah, no, Nintendo used to be Love Hotels.
Dude, want to rent a Nintendo Love Hotel Suite? We'll record the podcast there. Record the podcast in a love suite.
Let's do it.
And this concludes the section where Trevor was wrong.
Okay, hang on. I want to bring up one more thing before we move on. So I just looked it up. Now, Retro Studios is the company that made the original Metroid Prime series.
Yeah. So Metroid was hoarded out to a third party,
Yeah.
which apparently was a good thing.
But the thing is, like, it seems like they've just, Nintendo has just put something totally different on their plate for them to work on, nowadays, which is the Donkey Kong Country Returns series.
God.
And
That's funny.
the thing is, these games have like really high polish and stuff, but they could be, this time and effort could be better spent on new things, right?
Yeah, I think that the biggest downfall of Nintendo currently is the fact that they just don't have enough new IP to keep people interested. They're relying on nostalgia
Yeah.
for a generation that's quickly growing too old.
Splatoon turned out well.
Splatoon turned out well because it's new and it appeals to kids, and because it's Nintendo, that means adults will buy into it, even if they say, oh, it's marketed towards adults. That's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
It just means that because you like Nintendo and Nintendo's marketing strategies, it appeals to you. They have a specific formula they'll follow that is reminiscent of their old marketing strategies because it's worked for them in the past.
Hopefully with Iwata's new replacement, I forgot his name, hopefully they're going to take a slightly different direction with
Iwata's new replacement is not Kojima, by the way.
I am aware of that, so let's move on.
This concludes Trevor's section of where he was wrong. Join next week when he discovers that there's more than one mountain in the world.
Come on. All right.
Everyone knows that Pikes Peak is the only peak.
All right.
Actually, no, it's Matt Peak.
So Jackson, you've written down a topic here.
Yeah, I wrote down a topic. I don't know how much I can speak on it without getting into spoiler territories, and I refuse to spoil this movie.
Oh, shit.
To be fair, we're talking about Deadpool.
It feels...
Deadpool is a movie that I don't want to spoil it, but the big thing is that it's hard to spoil.
Okay.
Because in my eyes, it is a mediocre plot banged a great concept, and together they gave birth to a good movie. The movie is great. Not great. The movie is good. It had like a couple of pacing issues, but that was just that's kind of what happens when you give a superhero movie a $50 million budget, when most superhero movies get like $200 million, if not more.
Let's be clear about something here. You're the only one who's seen the movie, right?
Right, which is why I'm hoping that we can have a better discussion on it next time.
All right.
But at the moment, I'll just try to be kind of brief. It basically will hold the record for biggest opening of an R-rated movie on a weekend ever for a very long time.
All right.
And that is a good thing because previously studios treated R-rated movies as if they were only niche interest groups because they presume that the demographic of movies are teenagers who are not old enough to get into R-rated movies.
And probably still are, but besides the point.
Right. I'm not going to say that Deadpool did not have its share of people who were not old enough getting into it anyway. It did, and like there are parents out there right now that are crying. I was tricked into seeing Deadpool. If you're interested in Deadpool at all, it is very much an R-rated movie. There's full-on nudity of both genders, completely. You can even see a Vagibble in there.
Oh,
Don't
okay.
make up fake words for that.
And a penor. Ryan Reynolds penor.
Ooh.
No way.
It's not full frontal. It's just like it's in a scene, and you don't necessarily expect it, but at the same time it's natural. But
You're
it's still
kidding.
there. I'm not kidding.
So it's like obvious, and you can see it.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's obvious. They actually did a pretty good job of obscuring it. To where
Let's
like,
just
is that a
spend
penis? It's a penis.
50 minutes talking about Ryan Reynolds' penis.
It was about average size, and it was flaccid. So anyway, yeah, it's a very much R-rated movie, and I don't recommend taking young children to see that. You can be okay with the gore, you can be okay with the swearing. I think it's the nudity where a lot of people draw the line, especially when one of the scenes takes place with the hero walking around in a strip club.
Oh Jesus.
I'm getting a message from Ryan Reynolds. He's upset about your comment about his penis.
Your
Oh.
penis is glorious, Ryan Reynolds.
Of course, Ryan Reynolds.
Trevor,
Of course you're
please
listening to this live.
Ryan Reynolds is one of the people listening to the Hangout.
Trevor, please include for the next podcast when we're doing the corrections for last podcast to include that Jackson was not correct originally about Ryan Reynolds. Remember?
All right. I will.
Why are you saying that I'm not correct about that, Jacob?
Well, you were wrong, and we had to correct you.
I'm saying it is. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's probably above average. I'm giving a shout out to Ryan Reynolds' dick.
I'm sure
that's not wrong. That's a subjective thing, Jacob.
That's going.
Well,
on
I haven't.
Twitter.
Listen, I haven't seen his penis yet. When I see his penis, I'll get back to you.
Okay.
That's going on the Twitter page now. Jacob says Ryan Reynolds' piece.
Okay, so it
You
seems
should
like
tag Ryan Reynolds.
you've written something else here that it seems like you want to go into more detail about.
Basically, R-rated films have been treated as a very niche interest group. I was saying this earlier, and this proves that R-rated films can return and blow the investment out of the water, not only on opening weekend, but in general. Because R-rated films has been seen as always like a loss. They're losing a demographic, and unless it absolutely can't be made, like Mad Max, I think the only scenario I've heard, there have been, I will say there have been a couple movies that have been starting this, but Deadpool I think is the final straw. But Mad Max kind of showed it, where there was actually a PG-13 cut of the movie that was abandoned in favor of the R-rated cut. And then I want to say there was another movie, but I can't remember what it is. It was from like the last year or so.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, those three movies in general have kind of been shaping the industry's perspective on R-rated films and whether or not they can be really good movies. You understand?
Yeah. I think in a perfect world, there wouldn't really be an R rating. There would be PG, PG-13, and then X. And R would not exist. Because I think...
we just go straight to porn?
Well... I guess if you want to phrase it that way. The thing is, like...
To porn.
I think that... I don't know. I think if teenagers are able to see... like somebody shooting a gun and not necessarily the person getting hit, but the dead body afterward. I think, if they are able to deduce what happened, they should be able to see it,
They should be able to see Ryan Reynolds' penis.
Well, not exactly.
You're insinuating that teenagers should be submitted to virtual strip clubs.
That's not what I'm saying.
You heard it here first, folks. Trevor is all about the youngins seeing dicks.
I think that there shouldn't be an R rating. Okay.
To be fair,
You heard it
Deadpool is
here
a movie that if it was submitted 10 years ago, it would have hit NC-17 for sure.
Yeah.
This is only because of this kind of progressive style and how certain things that were previously deemed offensive have moved on in culture and become like more acceptable over time. This is an example of that.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it seems like in a lot of ways society is doing the opposite. Society is getting more politically correct and stuff.
Well, that's actually a relatively small percentage. It's just that we're existing in the center of it. College campuses tend to have the most of this whole political correct ideology. Right. Once you get out in the real world, you'll learn real fucking quick.
Because you are an expert on this topic, Jackson.
No.
I will watch a kid-friendly Deadpool.
I have held a job longer.
Okay, fine. Fair enough.
I will watch a kid-friendly Deadpool when they make an R-rated Frozen.
Give me blood.
Frozen with like double the incest.
I can
Wait, what do you mean double the incest? 0 times 0 is 0. I mean, you know what I meant.
There was the one scene.
Jacob,
I'm embarrassed to admit that I've seen Frozen.
Trevor,
I realize this. I hate
don't you start.
such a passion.
The R-rated version of Frozen is her snow becomes cocaine, and she becomes a drug dealer, and it all goes downhill.
Oh my God, Elsa the drug dealer. I would watch a version of that. It could take place in New York
we have
City.
to cook.
No, she doesn't need to cook. Her snow's already cocaine.
That's a topic we should talk about eventually. Disney going downhill.
What? No, they're not.
Kinda. It depends.
What do you mean?
They're holding pattern and they're having misses now, which is not to form.
Yeah, Disney and Pixar, both of them are starting to go downhill.
I would say Pixar maybe, but like Disney acquired Marvel and the Stairwares.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have to realize how Disney treats those franchises. They say, do what you're doing. We don't care. As long as it's not R-rated, we will finance it and help you release it.
I suppose what I mean is Disney animation when I talk about that.
So like the 2D and the in-house 3D animated stuff like Frozen?
Exactly, yeah. So, anyway.
God, I'm sick of that song playing.
Can we get Hillary Duff as just a guest on this podcast?
You know what? I'm
Not to
sure.
entice her with cocaine, but okay.
Yeah, I'm sure she would totally join us. Because...
I think you mean snow cane.
That was horrible.
Sugar cane?
Okay, so since we are on the topic of cocaine, let's talk about a game that I have trouble talking with you guys sometimes. I really do.
What? Next topic. Let's knock them out of the park.
All right, so I kind of wanted to bring up a game that I've been playing lately. It's called TIS 100, and
It's a game?
It's a game, yeah. And
I
I've told you,
like a chip or something.
yeah, it is based on computers, and I've told you guys about this. Maybe you don't remember, but basically, it's a game in which you program a weird computer to fulfill tasks that would be fairly simple to do on a normal computer. It's a puzzle game. It's a puzzle game for programmers who know assembly language. So, I guess any questions so far?
You probably couldn't figure it out.
Say what?
So some people in the audience might not be able to figure it out.
Okay, so that's a point of contention for a lot of people who play this game, because I think a lot of people, including myself, are of the mindset that anybody could pick up this game and be able to play it. It doesn't require knowledge of programming, but knowledge of programming certainly helps. So basically, what you have in assembly language, which is what the game, what you do in the game, is you write assembly language. You have very simple instructions, such as add this number to this number, and then another instruction is move this number from this slot of memory to this slot of memory. Very, very basic instructions. And what you have to do is you have to route pieces of memory around and add and subtract and multiply and do all sorts of crazy stuff in order to take a string of inputs and create a string of outputs. So, for example, one problem in the game, one of the puzzles in the game might be, okay, take all these numbers, multiply them by 2, and then output the result. And what you have to do is, what you have is like 12 mini processors that can all hold one piece of data, and you have to move stuff around and add things to other things, and create this complex system that does something that in our minds is very simple. And it's a very cool concept for a game, and it's actually pretty fun. So that's what it is. And it is fairly simple, and it's easy to pick up, and it's cheap too.
By
On
level
Steam?
69, you fully program Portal.
That's probably not possible in this, because you only have what, like 12 times 12 commands that you're able to input at a time. So
Okay, so you make 8-bit Portal.
not likely. But there is actually a story that goes along with it that's pretty interesting so far. I haven't beaten it yet, but anyway, it's cool. Any questions? I feel like I'm just describing stuff again, and you guys are listening. That happened a lot on the last podcast.
Oh yeah, there was like a 20-minute section.
No, it wasn't 20 minutes.
It was 20.
So like, is there a failure state, or is it just like working you through it?
Basically, what you can do is you can type a whole bunch of stuff out and run the program, and if it doesn't work, you'll, like, whenever an output comes out wrong, it'll make like an and sound, and it'll turn red, and it'll be like, scary. But really, it's basically like programming a real computer. There is no like message on the screen that comes up that says you failed this challenge or anything. It's just it's very much a simulation.
Yeah. And you said there was a story to it. How does it convey the story?
So basically, the idea is that you have this computer that you picked up from somewhere, and as you progress through the levels, there are like broken pieces of the computer that you can see, and you can click on it, and it has like a file that has been corrupted, and basically it's a journal of somebody who previously owned it, and like certain parts of the journal are like messed up and cut out, and so you can sort of read the narrative, and at the same time there's a world in which this exists. And so there's a PDF that was released online, which is like the quote-unquote manual for the computer that you're tinkering around with in the game, and it has like quotes in it that are like, this computer was designed to interpret data from millions of people at once, and basically the idea that they're trying to send to you is that this is like a government surveillance kind of Big Brother thing. And it's very, I don't know, the atmosphere is very real, even in this black and white interface of the game. So
it's not like Emily is Away, where everything felt artificial and not under your control.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, the story is not in your control in this game either. This is not a game in which you have control over the narrative.
Right.
So if you're looking for that, you got to go somewhere else. This is very much a puzzle game. So
I'm sorry, I zoned out watching a video about Black History Month.
Oh, okay.
It's very important.
I'm glad you pay attention to my ramblings on such topics.
I was listening to maybe 40% of that.
Okay, well...
Never shutting up.
Trevor, I edit these, so I will get your ramblings no matter what.
Okay.
So, that actually kind of reminds me of a game that recently came out as well called Pony Island, and that doesn't. That sounds crazy. The name is kind of a front, and there are like programming bits in the game.
I watched someone play that, and I'm just yelling at the screen, knowing they can't hear me. I'm like, it's so fucking simple.
Wait. Pony.
So this sounds really strange, Trevor, but hear me out. If you get a chance, eventually look up some gameplay for a game called Pony Island that was recently released.
Make sure it's not Bro.
Okay. No, right, I'm watching it now, actually.
Right. It sounds like it'd just be like a game for bronies, but it's not. It's actually, first of all, a game that is very self-aware, which I like, sort of like the Stanley's Parable, or a new game that came out called, I believe it's called, Calendula, where, like in Calendula, the game is literally the options menu, and you have to change things in the option menus to find codes throughout other option menus to progress in the game.
Wait, I'm looking this up. I have not heard of this.
Yeah, it's super trippy, but I really like games that are, well, first of all, include coding elements to them, but I also really like games that are very self-aware that they're games, and like Undertale as well, where you do things in that medium that you could only do because you're a game and you're interactive, things that a film could not do.
Huh. This is all looking very interesting, both Pony Island and Calendula.
It's very trippy, both of them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we should have played. Not that. I was just thinking of something else, something I just saw recently.
And the reviews, they're like amazing for both of these games.
Oh yeah, they're definitely games I would not play at like 4 a.m. with the lights off by myself.
Well, I'm going to check these out. Thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah, especially, there's also some very dark moments, which I like where games do, where it's like at one point in Pony Island, I think there's like an option where it's like, you can do this, or you can sell your soul. It's just like weird, dark stuff that I'm all about.
I think you release Satan at the end or something.
Oh yeah.
Jackson, are you paying attention to this now?
Jackson,
I'm kind of paying attention. What were the name of these games?
Pony Island.
And
Pony
Calendula.
Island. Calendula. That sounds like something I would call a vagina.
Isn't that a flower, actually?
Yes, and I definitely would recommend not playing it if you don't enjoy not jump scares, but and not gore, but like it has some imagery of like organs.
How do you spell this?
and
I'm not sure.
Let me post it in the chat for you
Do you
gentlemen.
look at the content that's in not motherfucker.
In any of my videos.
I'm
Sometimes.
too stupid to figure out what things are called. Interesting.
So it must be in the other.
God, I have a Keanu Del Rio card worth 20 cents on the market.
Do you say you have a Keanu Reeves card?
He gave
Sure.
you his business card, dude.
No, I'm looking at trading cards in Steam.
No, I was thinking more of like a gift card that you could use to purchase a certain amount of Keanu Reeves.
Of course.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like, here's my Keanu Reeves gift card.
Yeah.
All
Can I
right,
trade it for an
Glendale
Amazon
already
card?
looks like a horror experience.
Oh
I'd like to
God.
purchase $10 worth of Keanu Reeves, please.
Just $10. How much will that get me?
And they just like show a clip of him in the Matrix, like going, "No, I don't believe this. Get me out of here."
That dude, for like all the crap he gets, he is talented.
He is. Yeah, he is. He wouldn't. I wouldn't necessarily call some of his performances in
So the
certain-
concept for Calendula is trying to play a game that does not want to be played.
Yes, and it has some very interesting features. For example, at one point, I'm trying to think of how to describe this. It's very hard to describe this game without actually playing it. But for example, at one point in the options menu at the beginning, you see that you can mirror the screen orientation, and then later there's a code that's written backwards, and you have to mirror the screen orientation to read it. Like, there's just a bunch of weird, crazy jazz like that.
So it's basically knowing various aspects of the game that you may forget.
It's a lot of tinkering, and I like tinkering games where you just like, maybe let me try this crazy thing.
So basically, it's what it sounds like to me that you're talking about with Calendula is that it's not necessarily an easy game, but it's one that if you persist at it, you will ultimately find the way to it.
It's a lot like point and click games in the element that there's a logic to it. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say it's hard, and I wouldn't say that it's easy. I would just say that there's a logic to it that if you get in the mindset of, you can progress through the game pretty swimmingly.
Is it like, and be honest here, is it like a exhaust all options kind of game?
It depends on what type of player you are.
Okay.
It's sort of like if you played the Stanley Parable and you got like a couple different endings, I think you'll be fine, right? Meaning that like if you're willing to experiment a little bit, and you have like a game logic, you should do fine. But I would not sit my dad down to play this because he would be very frustrated.
All right. Well, man, that is
It
super
looks
cool.
interesting. It looks actually very creepy, but
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, just the.
Like the aesthetic of the menu already sets the tone.
Well, it's funny because the menu is the game in Calendula. Like,
Right. And that's so the menu has to convey a lot.
Yeah.
It looks like it does it well.
Well, very
It looks interesting. We'll have to check it out sometime.
Would you,
and it's also, it's not like jump scary. It definitely has like jump scare elements, but it's very much atmospherically scary.
It's more like a psychological one.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's designed to like slowly psych you out from the looks of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it drove me mad. I'm insane now.
Yeah, we've noticed.
Yeah, we knew that after Jacob's bad day.
There we go.
Jacob's bad day predates this podcast.
So we need what we need is we need two animations, right? We need Jacob's Bad Day animated, and we need Trevor's Peace Story animated. And we won't talk about what those things are, but I'll leave it at that. Let's move on to the next topic.
I might have missed Trevor's Peace Story.
No, you were there.
No, I recorded it separately from the Lost podcast.
Oh yes.
Oh God.
So we won't talk about what it is right now, but that is a teaser for something possibly
upcoming content.
Possibly.
If we get fans.
Possibly. Just depends. Anyway, what's the next topic before I...
You wrote down Kung Fu Panda 3, but I think that was a joke.
That was a goof, but real talk, Kung Fu Panda 3, 4 Panda Paws out of 5.
Really?
We'll watch again. Yeah.
Why are they sequelizing everything?
Because they know it sells.
Jackson, there's this new thing. It's called
Kindergarten
Money.
Cop 2, Now You See Me 2. It's like, why sequels to stuff that hasn't that haven't existed? Why start franchising stuff?
Well, the thing is, the majority of films already were like, adaptations from other works. So it's not too far of a stretch, I think. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no. There's this new thing called money, and it can be exchanged for goods or services. And a lot of
It's
big film
only as
productions
old
like
as
using.
like 500 or so years, you know.
What do you mean, American money
No,
or
money in general. Actually, the concepts existed for roughly 2,000 years, if the Bible is to be believed.
the Bible?
The Holy Bible, if not earlier. Basically, the concept of treasure and gold and stuff has existed for far too long.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Down.
I need to go back to bartering. I want my chickens to have value. God damn it!
Are you being serious right now?
No, why would I
Okay.
have chickens?
Let's
the thing
exchange
is,
Steam
like,
games for chickens.
I know friends, who are very much the college liberal type, even though I am a college liberal myself.
Well, Trevor, there's a difference between liberal and anarchist, like
Yeah,
Jackson's
yeah.
trying to do.
The thing is, like, I know people who will, like, adamantly say, we can't have money anymore. That's not good for us.
We do need to get rid of the penny, though.
That is very true.
Just
We
move
do-
everything up to the nickel.
Yeah. I watched a video recently that was, like, all about why we need to get rid of the penny and all that. Have you seen it, Jacob? Maybe you have.
Which one?
It was by CGP Grey. Love that guy.
I have seen that one, and TGPK makes great videos.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Anyway,
Yeah, no. Do you guys ever like just imagine Donald Trump just like snuggling you like in the middle of the night, or no?
I don't think
Depends. Is there a knife under my pillow?
Like nah, just like a little friend snuggle. You know what I mean? Just like a
Oh
little like
God.
I would imagine wrangling somebody in bed before snuggling with somebody in bed.
No, but like you're also paralyzed.
Okay.
I prayed to Trump every night.
I
Praying to Trump.
Have you heard of our Lord and Savior Donald Trump?
I
Have I?
My wallet groaned as he gave me a small loan of $1 million.
Jackson, what have we told you about reading Donald Trump fan fiction?
I'm sorry, I can't help it. It's my weakness.
Okay, so after Kung Fu Panda.
After Kung Fu Panda, we played Sanctum 2 earlier.
We did.
And
When was that
there.
game released? I'm gonna check real fast.
Hang on, I got Steam pulled up. Let me just check.
So do I.
I'm gonna beat you to it. I'm gonna beat you to it.
2013 of May 5th.
Fuck you! God damn it! All right. Anyway,
So 2 years ago, three
Yeah,
if you want to
3.
really count.
it's almost 3.
Yeah.
Sanctum 2. That is a fun game. I'll say it had like some kind of wonkiness to the opening, but that's just like me trying to come to terms with the game I didn't play the tutorial for. Even without a tutorial, you learn the basics super quickly, and it's a shitload of fun.
Yeah. But I mostly like dropping shit on top of Jackson and making him mad.
I was not getting mad at that, by the way.
No, he was getting mad at me walking in front of him and giving me all his money.
Exactly, like, motherfucker, I'm trying to upgrade our turrets.
Oh look, he's upgrading our turret. Step in front. Now your money's mine, bitch.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate troll tactic.
So may I give my input about this game?
In a minute. I just wanted to talk. I'm trying to organize my thoughts onto why I think this is a great game.
All right.
Like, the mechanics are very simple and intuitive, but they're not so easy that the game is easy. Like, we had a very difficult time beating some of the bosses, and just some of the enemies in general. Some of the encounters were actually very difficult.
The
And
anal worm.
It's partly because we were playing with starter level weapons, which are clearly not intended to be that good, even though we're playing like the basic quote-unquote campaign for the story. It's very much... It's just interesting because first off, it's a great mesh between tower defense and first-person shooting, which are two that don't necessarily work together all the time. And usually their parts are very separated, but in this it very much embraced the two and integrated them very well together.
I was about to recommend 2 games, but then I realized they're both third-person shooter kind of things.
Mm.
And not your style.
We'll see. I'm open to trying more things, especially since I've made it a goal to like play games that I've missed out on. So Silent Hills 2 is something I'm looking into. I need to play through all of the Half-Life series.
Okay, that game's really old. How old is this one?
But anyway, it's like these are this
Even
is,
older.
it's a mixture that's really good, and I think it works super well. I'd really like to play more of it because it's so addicting in a way. It's like I never understood tower defense that well until now because you're always so removed from the action for the most part. But in
Yeah,
this, when you're right up in the action and you have a chance to affect it yourself, it changes the game and creates something that's unlike anything I've ever played before.
So now may I give my opinion?
Maybe.
No.
Okay. So I was a little less impressed with this game.
Whoa.
Fuck you. Moving on.
Hang on. I gotta fit
You
in.
get to say.
All right. So
I can't believe Trevor takes us seriously when we say stuff like that.
well. All right. Okay. So my opinion of the game is it appears what is going on.
Jacob?
Jacob, are you alive?
Yeah, fine. Continue.
Okay. It appears to me that this game is like somebody who played Borderlands like had what they thought was an amazing original creative idea for a tower defense game that was also a first-person shooter, which was really just Borderlands combined with with tower defense. And while I think the two separately are, are decent, I think Tower Defense is a more beautiful game than Borderlands, actually. But I don't think they mesh as well as you make them out to be. I mean, they do, mesh together pretty well. But my problem with the game is that it is taking a concept and adding something to it that does not make it better, but just makes it different. And I just didn't. It wasn't my taste.
Well, I've never.
In addition to that, hang on, not quite finished. Hang on. In addition to that, there were a lot of just weird things about the game that I could not wrap my head around, such as the fact that you can see, what everybody else sees when they point down in the area.
Horrible.
I understand why they need it.
There's just way too much going on the screen at one time, and you can't point at something and know for sure that you're pointing at it, like you're gonna use it or add something to it or, do something like that. The aesthetics are nice, but the thing is, it's way too crazy, and the mouse sensitivity is too high, and a whole bunch of settings are just off about the game. Anyway, those are all my qualms with it. So.
I agree that the hologram system used to determine where you're pointing being visible to all players
At least make it a different color.
made navigation somewhat difficult. And
Yeah.
I understand red has to be locked off because that's universally the "you can't place here" symbol.
Yeah.
That's fine. It happens. My big thing about it was, while yes, it is a convenient system, the biggest qualm I had is that I could not find my own health bar anywhere on the screen. I could see the others' health, but I never saw a bar that indicated how much health I had left.
And then we just
I never knew how close I was to death at any given point, besides the screen context of whether or not it was starting to turn black and white.
Exactly. Yeah, that's.
And
that's
I will
just...
say, I came to be able to read it pretty well and gauge when I had taken enough damage that I needed to try to back off. That said, some of the enemies can hit you from ridiculously long distances, even if they don't seem to reach you.
Exactly.
It's like, I understand they're trying to play it like a fair tower defense game, but still, if you're going to give us player control, let us put it together. Still, I found the gameplay to be very addicting, and I've never played Borderlands and I've never played tower defense, so experiencing those for the first time put together was very interesting to me, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would.
I think you might like Borderlands, maybe.
It depends. It's a big, long
Borderlands
RPG.
one.
I avoid it the same reason I avoid Fallout, because I don't have a lot of time to commit to games. So I prefer stuff that
Oh, yeah.
that I don't have to commit a bunch of time to.
Yeah, so until you have enough time, I'd skip
Either
Borderlands.
that, if I do have to
Go
commit a lot of time to it, I want to have friends play along with me. Single-player games are not my forte.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Fair enough.
Oh, so that's the way this is supposed to go.
Okay, so there's one last thing on the list if we want to move on. Do we want to move on?
Yeah.
John, do you have any overall thoughts on Sanctum?
You guys pretty much. The thing that bothered me most was the holograms that everyone could see. I think something
I
that
think that tile menu should be contextual, so once you look at a tile, then you bring up a menu to decide what to build.
that would work too. I was also saying if they do want to keep the hologram system, just make them different colors. Like one person gets yellow, one person gets blue, something
One
like
gets
that.
green and one
Yeah. Still, that is like one of the many problems that I have with the game. So.
Would you be interested? Are you interested enough to continue playing it, though, is the big question.
I mean, the thing is, it's at its core, it is still tower defense, and I like tower defense. So I think I will continue to play it if you guys invite me. But
Okay.
like, the thing is, I don't think I would enjoy playing it as much as I would enjoy just playing regular old tower defense. So.
Loon's tower defense for the win.
Okay, moving on. What is this that you've written here?
Hearthstone.
Yeah.
That's a Jacob topic.
So I'm not going to bore you guys, but I will quickly say Hearthstone is a card game, and essentially they've had this big problem for a long time. There's just too many cards, and they have this design problem called power creep. I won't go too much into it, but essentially there were certain cards that were too powerful and certain cards that were so bad that they were unplayable. And so there was essentially just too many cards. So recently, the people at Hearthstone, the developers, announced that they were going to do something called standard rotation, where, like in card games like Magic the Gathering, they will rotate a certain every 2 years they rotate out cards that are allowed to be played in ranked mode. They will also have a wild mode for all cards, but they're essentially fixing a lot of design problems, and I'm super excited about it.
Okay.
And
Can we
that's
talk
about it.
about any other games and why we like them? Because I feel like a big part of what we are doing is that we like talking game design and we don't seem to talk about it enough.
You know what? I'd love to talk about more games that I like. You know what? I'll just bring up my Steam menu and I'll just.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now. I want to talk
Move or
about
Die.
more issues that I had with Emily is Away, but yeah, let's talk about Move or Die first, since that's fresh on our minds. I'm not a platformer guy.
All right,
Okay.
sure.
I will state that up front. So me playing a platformer was painful for everyone involved. However, I had a lot of fun yelling at it. So it ultimately evened out to a game that I don't like, but I like playing with people because it's co-op.
I enjoyed your frantic kind of like oh no, you know, kind of yelling.
My issue is that it's very difficult because it doesn't give you like a full freeze frame to find your character before you start moving. So half the time, a solid amount of my deaths came from running into or falling off of stuff and hitting those X blocks because I could not find my character before I had started moving. And I just started moving immediately because it's instinct, because it's the frantic pace of the game. So it's what you're kind of trained to do. But your spawn is randomized, so you never quite know what you're doing.
You know,
And you never quite know where you are. You just kind of have to hope that you're not dead by the time you find your character. And for me, because I'm stupid, it takes me longer.
you know, while they do have the little circle that indicates, hey, you're here.
It takes at least a second and a half before it actually appears on the screen.
It's because I'm host.
I have died before that circle appeared, multiple times.
It's interesting.
I have one of the 20 achievements in Honey Pop, and I have sunk 3 hours into that game.
It would probably be better if the camera started zoomed in on your character and then zoomed out to show the whole stage.
Absolutely.
Only
you guys-
3 hours, Jackson, on Honey Pop.
What did you call it?
We're not gonna go back to
We
that.
already talked Honey Pop.
We did.
I like the game. We might talk about it at a later date.
Okay.
Probably not, but you
Oh,
know.
Do you guys have an achievement you're most proud of?
Bestiality.
What the fuck? Honestly, I do, but it's not on Steam. It's on Xbox 360. My friends and I love zombies. It's like the reason I play Call of Duty to this day is because of the zombies game mode, and that's why I'll only buy ones that have zombies in them guaranteed. I haven't given a shit about ghosts. I bought Advanced Warfare after it started getting zombies mode,
Mm-hmm.
and I had no interest in it prior. Ultimately, it's like Call of Duty to me is the zombies mode. And in Black Ops 1, there was a map called Moon. And every Zombies map since, I think, the first downloadable content map for Black Ops 1 has had an Easter egg in it that will get you a reward. In the case of the first one, it did not have an achievement tied to it, but it did give you a giant minigun that basically is supposedly ripped off of the nose of a helicopter, and you could carry it around for like a minute and a half, which is triple the amount of time that the power-up usually gives you. But starting with the second map pack, they gave you achievements for them. And Black Ops 1 had a map called Moon, which coincidentally took place on Mars. No, it took place on the Moon. But that achievement, there's actually two parts to it, because it has two achievements tied to them, and one is secret. Getting that achievement, grinding out, spending the 4 hours in the single game with my friend while we're just frantically trying to remember the steps. We were on Wikipedia, we were looking up YouTube videos, and it was just really fun. And by the end of it, we were tired. We were all kind of sweaty, even though we weren't in the same room, and we were actually, one of the people that I got that achievement with lives here in St. Louis. But anyway, it was a lot of fun for everyone involved.
Very cool. What was it called?
It was called Moon, and it was in Call of Duty Black Ops.
Okay, cool.
Did the achievement?
Yeah, the achievement to this day is my favorite one that I've ever achieved, because I haven't really gone for any big achievements since then.
My favorite achievement that I've ever gotten, and it's not big by any means, is called Friends List with Benefits. And it's in Portal 2, and what it is while playing co-op, hug 3 different people on your friends list.
Oh, yeah.
Aww.
And I was very happy when I got that, because I only had 3 people on my friends list at the time.
Nice.
So yeah, I got them all to join me for a game, and I hugged them.
I remember when I first got Steam, you had a copy of Portal because you had Steam back when, before TF2 was free to play.
That's correct.
And you wanted to give me the free copy of Portal that you got from pre-ordering Portal 2.
Yep.
And I couldn't get it. And so, almost 5 years later, 6 years later, I ended up buying it.
Wait, is that true?
Yeah, I never got that free copy, which is why it took me so long to play it. I only played it within the last year.
Wow. Okay. Huh. I guess I didn't realize. What about you, Jacob?
It's in Arkham Asylum, and it's called Perfect Night, and it's for 100% completing the game.
Okay. And wait, 100%. How much does
Yes.
that entail?
So that means getting all the Riddler trophies.
Oh Jesus!
Every single side quest. You have to complete the game 3 separate times to beat it.
There's a lot of stuff in that game.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta get 24 medals on combat challenges, 24 medals on Predator. Solve every Enigma riddle. There's a lot of stuff. I'm just really proud of it.
You should be. Jeez. Okay. John?
I'm working on 100% completing Arkham City. Sorry, go ahead, John.
It's not a hard achievement.
Is there a way to see your achievements real quick? Just on Steam?
Nah.
You look at your games list in your library, and then there's an option to view stats.
It's not a hard achievement to get, but I found it really funny when I got it. It's on Tabletop Simulator, and if you don't know about it, you can flip the table. But
Yeah.
you can set your table to be unflippable, and you get an achievement for trying to flip it. It says, too weak, you tried to flip the table, ... and failed. And in the game, it literally says, you tried to flip the table, but you were too weak.
John, have you seen gameplay or played Secret Hitler yet?
No, I have not.
You're the worst.
I suppose actually one of the better achievements I've gotten before achievements were actually a thing was this thing in GoldenEye when you played multiplayer. If you got the award Most Cowardly, it means that you stayed far away, the farthest away, the most of the time from all the other players in the arena.
Oh,
Nice.
shit, that reminded me. In my history of video games class, we brought out an N64, and I played GoldenEye against a professor, and I won.
No way!
Can we talk about how you have a history of video games class? Sorry.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing. That was my first time playing GoldenEye ever. I've never touched it before.
That's spectacular. I am proud of you.
To be fair, I was playing against somebody else, and I was winning a lot by luck. And then the professor like took the controller when the person quit. Like, I can't do this. How is he beating me? And he's like, let me try. And I still beat him. Mostly by the time running out before he could kill me enough times. I wasn't running away though. I was actually trying to find him.
What was the game mode?
It was deathmatch.
Okay.
It was on like the temple map, and
Oh, the temple map is.
we were just fighting over the rocket launcher for the most part.
Okay. So it was rocket launcher as the main weapon.
Yeah, how the fuck can you just see all of your achievements in one list?
You can on mobile.
No, well.
Oh, really? Mobile? I'll look on mobile.
Anyway.
The failing to flip the table, that's just one that stood out to me right away that I remembered.
I will say there's one game that I've completed. I technically completed the 360 edition of Minecraft, but I don't know if that counted because Minecraft got an update recently, and now it's a 1,000-point game, and it may have become a 1,000-point game on the 362. But back when it was a 400-point game with only like 20 achievements, I completed it. I also completed the Lego game Bionicle Heroes. To this day, it's
I'm sure you're very proud of yourself.
Bionicle Heroes, I like Bionicle a lot, and Bionicle Heroes was probably my favorite game as a kid. I remember specifically the first copy I had of that game, I placed like 3rd or 5th in a spelling bee, and my parents got it for me as a reward for being such a good boy.
You know, there's a game I would like to talk to you about if you're done.
Really quickly, Jacob, how do you find your achievements?
I think I may have confused your question. I meant on the mobile app, you can go to your library, and anytime you want to see all your achievements in one game, you click View Stats.
Oh,
That's
you
not
can
what
do
you-
that on the normal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I thought that's what you wanted. Never mind. Trevor, continue to hide my mistake.
Have any of you guys
Mistakes.
played Bastion?
Yes.
I don't even have it.
That is a good game.
It is one of the best games of all time, and it literally just has one voice actor.
It is spectacular. Well, it has 2.
Troy
Well,
Baker.
yes.
Troy Baker's a good voice actor.
He's just the first one that came to my mind.
Anyway,
But yeah, no, that game has a ton of ludonarrative harmony, where what you do in the game affects
Affects
how
the
you experience the narrative and at what rate and at what pace. And in a game, anytime you interact with something, you interact with the game. For example, at one point, if you fall off the world, you'll get plopped back down onto the world, and the narrator will say something like, "The kid has to pick himself back up again." You know, like he'll say things as you do
based
them.
on,
Yeah, in response to what you do, so you feel more immersed in the game, and it makes for a better gameplay experience. I don't know if there's anything else that you wanted to praise the game about, but I love it.
That is the thing about the game that I respect the most.
Oh yeah.
I also, although I have my problems with the ending, I think the story of the ending is very interesting and very. It's pretty well done, really, and really it's just a good game, and it is definitely worth playing.
Well, it also has something I feel like more games should feature, where you can continue doing regular levels, but there's also a smoking pipe that you can smoke, and your character will hallucinate, and then you'll go to a stage where that serves 2 purposes.
It's like a boss rush.
Yeah, no, it's basically a grind that you can do if you want to. And while you experience that grind, the narrator, as you're going through waves and waves of enemies, explains some backstory about the main character. So it's such a 2 birds with 1 stone game design move, where not only are you giving a character backstory, but you're also giving the player a choice to grind if they want to.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of fun for some people if your name is Jacob.
And also the music in the game is amazing.
Oh yeah.
So spectacular.
I've been meaning to move on to Transistor, which is the game after Bastion that the company made. I haven't quite gotten there yet.
I've played it. I played through it, and I gotta say, not quite as impressive, really.
Really, it looks
Yeah.
like visually from the trailers and from the gameplay video, it looks visually more appealing.
Does it make it better?
It's definitely a different style, and the level of detail in the aesthetics is, just as good, if not better, than
Mhm.
Bastion. But like, really, I don't know. Overall, as a game, it was okay.
Mhm.
It wasn't anything that I'm gonna write home about. Um, I mean, it was different, and it was a nice, it was a nice little experiment, I think,
Mhm.
which I think I've said about Emily as a way too, but it just didn't work for me. Anyway,
I would like to change my favorite achievement to uh, truest player, which is in Honey Pop for spending the night with the goddess of love.
Jesus Christ.
okay.
Trevor, you just don't like talking about Honey Pop. Does it make you uncomfortable or something?
I haven't played it, and you guys seem to obsess over it, and I guess
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
j-
It's entirely for entertainment value. It's
no,
comedic
no.
for
I'm
us.
sorry. I take it back. My most proud achievement is uh,
Bestiality.
called Dream 4 Chapter 3 completed, and it's in a little game called They Bleed Pixels.
okay.
You show me that game, and it seems like it was just something terrifying.
Well, it's when I started my big completionist kick, which I'm still on, but like I was trying to complete that game. That game may take a little longer to be completed.
It never will. You'll never
John,
complete it. I don't believe in you.
Was that?
John, you've been fairly quiet. What do you got to say?
What are we talking about?
John, you gave me the fucking 2-week achievement in Tabletop Simulator.
The what?
I have the 2-week achievement in Tabletop Simulator for trying to flip the table.
Oh, I thought you meant. I was thinking of something else for some reason. Like,
John, is there a game mechanic that has particularly stroked your fancy?
Stroke your fancy?
Stricken? Strike?
well, that achievement in Hoonie Pop, get a hand job.
Really?
That's not an achievement.
I know, but it really stroked my interest.
That's not an achievement. Don't
Your
make up fake.
pun
do-
sucks like
don't-
8 dicks.
Oh, just like you did at Move or Die.
8,000 dicks.
Wow, the number went up.
I wonder, never mind.
Anyways,
Give Q all the pairs of
I
panties
like
after she
the
asks for
game
them.
mechanic. I'm not sure if it's really revolutionary or something. Undertale, which I will be posting a series of really soon.
Are you doing a pacifist run or aggressive run or just like a
Both.
mix?
I think he's got one of each.
They're already recorded. Most of it is already processed and ready for upload. It's just timing.
I think it's super cool in that game how the main character, the kid, remains gender. Like they never necessarily identify the gender.
Like, I feel like Chara is kind of a girl's name.
Yeah, but like I
Which is
know
supposed to
I
be
know I know girls named Charlie. You know what I mean?
Do you?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And Frisk, I'm sorry, it does not sound like a girl's name.
Frisk?
That's what your character's name is in the neutral run. I mean, the pacifist run.
Why?
Don't know.
That's the name he was given.
Can't you just name your character?
You
You
can,
can,
but that's
okay,
supposed to be the
okay.
name of
It's
the
all
child.
part of the story, Jackson.
Yeah, I shouldn't be telling any more.
It's all part of the story.
Why would I play Undertale?
But Undertale is also a game where, as I said earlier, if we're talking about game design, is one of those games where it does things that only a game can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
there are times where your interaction
Makes a difference.
yeah, and there are times where the game will close itself down.
Yeah.
Will literally exit itself out, and you have to reopen it to continue.
That was a bitch to record. Like,
Oh, I can imagine.
times
Like,
it crashed. I'm
oh
like,
yeah.
fuck.
I very much am. I very much agree with you, Jacob. I do think that games need to embrace what they are unique about, or what are unique about
Yeah.
them, in order to thrive. and those are the most interesting games, which is why, Bastion and Papers, Please, one of my favorite games, and Undertale are also amazing. For some reason, Jackson, you have, I don't know, maybe you can explain this again. You have some resistance to play Undertale or watch a playthrough?
It's the exact same reason that I don't like Harry Potter.
It's fanboyism.
It's too much too many people talk about it. That means that I don't want to feel like I'm going with the flow, because I will feel like, personally, I will have been talked into that by the majority. I don't want to feel like the majority made me do anything. I want to feel like I did things of my own accord.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
not gonna lie, at the end of the pacifist ending, I did cry.
Okay.
You're a fucking baby.
Now here's the thing.
Beautiful.
Here's the thing about the ending of Undertale, the pacifist ending anyway. I don't consider that the ending of the game.
What happens afterwards?
Whatever the player does, right? That's the beauty of the game. Especially if you've played the game and you've beaten the game on the genocide run, and then you do the pacifist run, things change.
A little different ending.
Yeah, and that describes to you that it's still not the end of the game. The game is like this idea of something that continues on, even if if you're not actively playing it at the moment. If you come back to it, the story continues.
The genocide ending, it kind of ties it all up in a nice little knot, and it's over, but, well, supposed to be over.
Well, I don't know. I feel like there is no true ending to that game. Anyway, Jackson, I still think that you should...
Yeah, I actually disagree with you, Trevor, that Jackson should do it.
Really?
Mainly because it does suffer a bit right now from overhyping, and I think Jackson would have a far better chance at enjoying it if he does one day decide he wants to enjoy it, if he waited for the rabid fanboyism to die down.
That's very true.
I totally see the merit of jumping into it, but there are so many things where, number one, the fans of it will crucify you for if you haven't, enjoyed that story. But there's also a barrier to entry that comes with that. So I would say don't get your expectations up. I would wait until you feel comfortable and you're just okay, this seems like a decent game on your own merit.
How the fuck did Warframe get 114 achievements? That is way too many achievements.
How about the new Warframe movie?
By the way, just want to add my last comments here about the Undertale thing. I suppose it is like going to the movie theater and bringing your best friend who knows all about the movie and has seen it before and just can't stop talking to you about it as you're watching it. Oh, did you see that? That was so amazing how they did that.
That's not what bothers me, but there have been movies that I've gone into, and because people have hyped it up online and because people have planted this expectation of it in my head, I come out disappointed in.
Yeah.
I can't remember a movie, but I know it's happened at least once.
All right. So just keep Undertale in the back of your head, and then one day after everything has died down, and if you decide to try it, I think you will enjoy it.
You think Warframe has a lot of achievements? What about Team Fortress 2 when it's 518 achievements?
Yeah, but Team Fortress 2 doesn't count anymore. Team Fortress 2 has transcended game status, and it is now a meme.
Yeah. Team Fortress 2 is
Sad part is I almost have half those achievements.
Team Fortress 2 is like a
That's
weight
not
of life
sad.
for some people.
I miss TF2. I don't know why it's uninstalled, but I'm going to download it right now.
It's very big. That's probably why.
Yeah. It's not a very good game for, playing with friends.
No, it's a very good game for playing with friends. Hang on.
It's not like you can get a few friends together and play Team Fortress 2 together.
We have. We've done it before.
Yeah, but it didn't really work out.
And?
I mean, it wouldn't be nearly as fun as if we went into, I don't know, we played multiplayer Assassin's Creed or something. Because in Team Fortress 2, it's all about us versus them, and you're playing with one of your friends while you're playing against the other two, and it's so fast-paced and like I don't know. It's a multiplayer game that is very much based on your own success.
Well, I mean, that depends on what type of multiplayer you enjoy playing. Do you enjoy playing stuff where you're pitted against your friends, or do you enjoy stuff where you're playing with your friends on a team and trying to beat the enemy team of strangers?
Okay, you can pitch it like that, but there's no way you can guarantee that all your friends are going to be on the same team. And at the same time, it's like whenever you're playing on the same team as your friends, you're not necessarily going to be in the same area. You're probably off in different parts of the map doing different things, fighting different people, and you're not.
I mean, that's kind of the way that games like that play. That's kind of how shooter games in general play.
Well,
just because I'm playing with my 3 other friends in Halo and we're in Team Slayer doesn't mean we're all sticking right next to each other. That just makes you an easier target.
Well, yeah,
a big part of it is communicating with each other even from a distance and being able to use that effectively. It's all dependent on how you view those kind of games.
I feel like
you don't necessarily like those kinds of games.
I think a better version of multiplayer Team Fortress 2 is actually the man versus machine, because it is then very much like, okay, we're all on a team and we're working towards the same goal. Whereas
so you like cooperative modes, is what you're saying.
I do like cooperative modes in first-person shooters.
I agree with you. I think that first-person shooters are enhanced by cooperative modes, and it's another big reason why Zombies is a big draw for me for Call of Duty, because I don't think it functions well. The multiplayer aspect of it, while it's very fine-tuned, is not that fun. Yeah. It's frustrating at times. It's fun when you go and destroy everybody, but you know that you're causing other people to have a bad day at the end of it. I prefer a time where you're just having fun and everybody involved is having fun.
Yeah. All right.
Except
if you need an alternative, y'all could play Overwatch.
Overwatch is like what is it?
It's Blizzard's version of TF2. It's not out yet.
Yeah, I've seen trailers for that and stuff.
I know Dirty Bomb has been pretty praised as a new TF2.
I have not heard of this.
It's just TF2 with a more realistic grounding.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
It's also free to play.
Yeah, so... But that's where microtransactions come in.
Yeah, hats.
Hats, exactly.
Welcome to Valve, where hats are the big...
Okay, isn't that even...
All development time has gone into hats in the past 5 years at Valve.
No. They've spent a lot of time on, like, hardware stuff.
And hats.
I like that you take me seriously, Trevor.
Well, come on now. Sometimes you actually do make a comment that I'm supposed to take seriously, and then you're like, you weren't supposed to take that seriously. I'm like, what the hell?
Jackson.
Anyway.
Is this just a co-op version of Half-Life?
What is?
Sven Co-op. It's free to play. It's under free to play.
Let's see.
What is this? Cooperative game originally based around Valve Software's Half-Life. In this game, players must work together against computer-controlled enemies and solve puzzles as a team.
Huh.
What? I mean, looking at it, I'm watching a trailer play in silent. It just says, the original Half-Life campaign with friends.
That's interesting. I think that's interesting. I would play that.
Another game, it's fairly new-ish, Slime Rancher. When this was recorded, I had just released a video for it.
Yeah.
Perhaps this is the last one we'll talk about this evening, but
I don't know. I still want to bitch about Emily is Away a little bit.
We've already covered that.
We talked about it last time, but if you want to bitch about it again, that'll be the last time.
It gives you the illusion of choice, but the story seems so set in stone that certain events have to happen, and thus the choice is removed from your hands.
I think the idea of the game was that there are a whole bunch of branching paths, but eventually they all condense back to a single point.
But that defeats the purpose of branching paths.
Exactly. Yeah. But
it shouldn't be like, I don't know. I felt like there should have been a way to come out on top, but that game ultimately left you down in the dumps. And I've only played through it once, but I got the feeling that no matter what version I play, I would get the same ending.
Exactly.
That is how it works.
I agree with you. I think there should be different endings based on what you do, and it seems like there are the same ending.
To be fair,
no
I
matter
feel
what you do.
similar. I feel similar animosity towards the Stanley Parable because while it was fun at first, after about 30 minutes it got boring, and after about 90 minutes I'm just grinding for the achievements in there, and I realize like some of these are ridiculous.
Well, yeah, but
You
the
have to
point
play
of the
that game
Stanley
for the entirety of a Tuesday. Sorry, continue.
I believe the point of the Stanley Parable was to show that games were supposed to be, in his mind, what's the guy's name? The creator's mind, that games are supposed to be this thing that you tell stories with through the interaction. You know,
Not make a set in stone story.
exactly. You're not supposed to write a story and then attach interaction onto it. You're supposed to create the story with the interactivity as part of it. So that it's not just one story, it's a story that can change based on what the player wants.
I will say, how many endings did you end up randomly finding without prompting?
In the Stanley Parable?
Yeah, because one that I remember finding specifically was the button ending, where you go to button heaven.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was just like, I would mess around in the offices and I would find a computer that I could interact with. I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then I get a random ending. And I go and like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah,
there's a different
I remember
computer
that
lit this
ending.
time. And eventually it's like the computer you start at has the option. And it's like, oh, shit, I'm in an ending. I didn't expect that.
Well, I mean, I think the purpose of those kinds of endings is that to show that things might not be predictable in games. In games that are driven by story in this way, in which you have branching paths like this, the player may end up accidentally stumbling upon an ending that they didn't want, and that may happen. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but
No, you're probably not. You're probably not based on this creator's history and his current lineup of games.
yeah.
I actually enjoyed that aspect of it because it was a complete surprise to me and I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
But I will say that the Stanley Parable felt like a concept that got old after the third ending, even though it has like a lot more endings that it wants you to see. It wants you to see all of them. There's one ending I will never try for, and that is to play the narrator's game for 4 fucking hours to get the quote-unquote art ending.
Okay, yeah, you don't have to do that. I don't blame you.
I would not do that.
Yeah.
You have to play the game for a whole Tuesday for an achievement.
You also have to play the game for 5 years.
No. You have to not play the game for 5 years. But what you can do is you can make the clock on your computer go, advance 5 years, and then click on play the game, and then you get the achievement.
Oh, I would just let it sit for 5 years.
I like
Anyway.
the broom closet ending. The broom closet ending was my favorite.
That was an ending? I
Yeah.
found
No,
it in
it
the
was a
closet.
joke ending they made up.
Do you know it's a...
Oh, jeez, that's my phone.
When you stand in the broom closet long enough, he jokes at you like, "What are you going for? Like the broom closet ending?" Because there isn't one.
Yeah. You just stand there and wait. Nothing happens.
And eventually, he just assumes you're dead.
Anyway.
Before we move off the topic, back when I worked at a drugstore, one of my coworkers, his thesis was he sat 6 people down and he had them all play the Stanley Parable, two of which never play video games, 2 of which sometimes play video games, and 2 of which were avid gamers. And it was very interesting how he documented that the 2 people who have never played games before did exactly what the narrator said. And then they were asked to play it again, and they did exactly what the narrator said again.
I would expect the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, I would think that the gamer, the avid gamer would think, okay, I know I can play this again. I know this is just going to restart, so I'm going to churn out all the possibilities. I'm going to start with the obvious one first. And I think the person who is not familiar with games would be more cautious and more, they would think a lot more about their actions and be like, I'm not going to do that first. I'm gonna disobey.
Yeah, I could definitely see where that is coming from. And of course, it's a very small sample size, but I found it very interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting.
Right.
I think the opposite of what you think. Like I think they wouldn't be hesitant to not follow. I think they'd be more hesitant to follow the directions.
Which ones?
The non-gamers.
Okay. All right. Are you okay? Who's yawning?
I'm not yawning.
Jacob.
Oh, geez.
Trevor's yawning.
We
Trevor,
should wrap
stop
this up.
yawning.
Stop it, Jacob.
Trevor, stop yawning.
Shut up, you.
It's unprofessional. Your phone's going off. You're yawning.
Stop it.
We're gonna have to fire you, Trevor.
No.
Dicks in your hand.
Trevor, you're being replaced
Oh,
with
God damn
a potato.
We have a woman.
Oh no, he's being replaced with.
No, I said we're replacing Trevor. He's our resident woman. Don't you dare. What?
Shit, who played Deadpool? I already forgot.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, we're
His
replacing him with
penis.
Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, okay.
Ryan Reynolds' penis is replacing Trevor.
That's what I wanted.
Yes.
I didn't want to say it.
We are way too tired for this. It's like 1 in the morning now.
I'm not. Honestly, this is about the same time we recorded the previous podcast. We just had a stronger list of topics to talk about. This one was
Yeah.
kind of impromptu, so we had no time to prepare.
We were able to go on for a while, though.
So
I
to
mean,
end this,
it's
we'll
whatever.
talk about Ryan Reynolds' glorious penis.
Yeah.
Next
That'll
week.
be the title of this podcast.
I am not making a clip art for this.
Yes,
I mean,
you
thumbnail
are.
for this.
Do
Trevor's
it.
Trevor's head photoshopped over Ryan Reynolds' penis.
Well, at least this
Thanks.
time,
Do it.
the title of the video won't be about a mistake I made. So.
And we
thank
probably
goodness.
will still find a way.
Who knows? What
We'll
you
t-
actually
we'll t-
had a better track record this time.
We'll title
Thank
the
you.
podcast "Trevor's Mistakes,"
All
and then
right.
we'll just go to Facebook, find a picture of his parents, and Photoshop them to be crying.
Oh, God.
Job done. Peace out.
There are no pictures on Facebook of my parents crying.
I said all we need to do is find a picture of your parents and then Photoshop them to look like they're crying,
Oh,
like they are
okay.
on the inside all the time.
Yeah, just add go into MS Paint and add
Yes.
blue dots on their faces.
Yes.
All right. So I suppose I should stop the broadcast now. So,
Yeah, this has been the Biasholes, and we are finished.
goodbye.